Good evening. I'm still David, still from Fertile Pixel. I'm going to turn this light on. Changed my mind. I'm going to do another dark stream. For the early morning streams, it felt right to have the light up. But this later just does not. I think half of it is mood related. So it gets to the end of the day. I'm tired, done a lot of stuff. Medication's wearing out. And any caffeine I might have had, getting pretty low. So it's kind of hard to maintain a positive mood. So I think the dark helps with that. This lighting over here, by the way. Wait, I was just going to say this lighting over here from this side is like not on purpose. There is a fish tank there that I haven't finished emptying out that needs to move, so I can put a recliner there. This lighting, I think, is primarily coming from, well, accidentally, another laptop that's still open. But I think most of it is this. Yeah, that is a big white playlist. So basically I could use that. I can figure out where I just minimized it to. Use that and other things. I can. Yeah, let's try this. Okay, I'll get to game dev in a minute. But first, let's just grab paint. And that's already giving quite a lot of lighting over there. But why don't we get paint here? And I can presumably zoom that, yeah. Oh, I don't want to maximize that. That's not going to look good. Let's just do there. And what kind of lighting is good? Like, I think there's a lot of like blue one side and pink the other side going on. So if we just flood fill that with like a blue, can I have another, like a new window? No, apparently not. So I can't have two instances of paint. But anyway, let's see what happens if I do that. And we hide the toolbar and just zoom that right in. Oh yeah, that changes things. I'm gonna go back to here. So yeah, this is like with and without. Wow, that's very different. So maybe I should just plug in a few more monitors. Don't need to get lights. I have two panels up there. And then I've got these. And pretty versatile, I think, because I can let's just grab a color 2 that is what? How do you make paint work? So I guess that color there is what I want for color 2. Look at that. Okay, there's my lighting sorted out. So I got this or that. But I gotta need one on each side. So I won't be able to see this properly. Actually, I can move OBS over here while I'm not streaming that. And then let's just see how well this works. I'll just get another. There we go. I can just open a new instance of paint and put blue on that one. And grab that color on that one. Okay, this side here. There we go. I think the brightness is at much higher on that monitor than on this one. And there's a white light from the webcam. I'll try the other way. Because I think you want the blue to be the more prominent. I don't know why I think that. There. Okay. Hang on. Let me just get that closer where I can see. I'm looking here. Oh, cool. There we go. I've done it. I've got the 2024 streamer lighting. And all I have to do is sacrifice all of my screen real estate that's outside of my development area. Amazing. I could probably achieve that by just setting some background colors. That's interesting, but I'm about to lose that side of it by putting my stream preview over the top of it. Just wonder actually if I have that just peeking out from behind a bit. Yeah, interesting. I can put my chat over here because I don't think I need all of that amount of blue from over that side. Let's try that. Okay, let's get on with some game dev. So let's go development, view, and once again, still working on command bots. Still working on customizing the robot parts in the factory. I just realized the task up there is accurate for what I want. What is that I've just selected? Oh, I see. Yeah, that's just a thing that's relevant to the transition. Cool. So yeah, it looks like I was in the middle of writing some code based on this, but that might actually be... No, that's something else. That is just a closing the game makes this potentially run at an inappropriate time. Could I do like that? Would that work? All right, was there a... Yeah, Unity objects shouldn't use non-propagation. Is calling is destroyed okay on that? Yeah, let's have a look. This isn't exactly answering it, but I'm also opening the magnifier. But I got curious. Why can I still call functions in destroyed monobehavior objects? This isn't exactly what I was looking for, but it is something that might sort of answer my question that I'm wondering about. You know, calling is destroyed. Probably also doesn't really matter because it's just like when the game is ending, but I do like to eliminate all errors that I reasonably can. That looks fine. Why are the functions still being called? That doesn't exist. Okay. So yeah. So Unity has overridden the double equals operator for anything that is a Unity engine.object. Thus, it is possible this equals equals null to be true if it's code in a modern behavior for which the game object has been destroyed. This is a quirk of Unity. In normal C#, this equals null would always be false unless the operator has been simply overridden. So yeah, okay. So basically, no, let me get that back here. Yeah, so basically, like that's probably going to be okay, this is an extension method, so it's essentially calling an isDestroyed function and passing selection indicator as the thing it was called on, because that's how extension methods work. They're not part of the class, they're just a function that takes a class and can be called as though it is a member of the class. But basically, because this is Unity and it is special, that is the exact same as doing that with that. I'll just get rid of these. Don't really like having the extra block there. It's not really needed, especially when this is like a single person project. And if somehow some chain of events led to someone else working on this, then I'll just pay the cost of refactoring that code. Anyway, let's get rid of this, close that, and that might fix that thingy. But my to-do up here is where I should be focusing my attention. So, good old winter. I've been doing a lot of cleaning lately, which is probably the other reason why I have not been in the most fantastic mood. I wake up, I work, I clean, and then I go to sleep or make games. Gets a bit old after a bit, but it is really nice to have the cleanliness that comes from the cleaning. So until I become a billionaire for making my new hit game, I'm going to have to just knuckle down and do the cleaning so that I get to live in a clean house. Oh, this feels so unfair that that's how it works. Like, why do I have to have this body that just constantly produces dust? Not even like edible dust that I could eat to get rid of it or something like that. I'd delegate that to other creatures. Don't mind me just adjusting my chat thingies so that I can see them. One day I'll get all my monitors set up properly, but the first step really is get that fish tank out of here, put this laptop with the webcam over there, unflip this camera so that I can point left and it actually looks left. Oh, wait a minute. If I do that, left. Ah, okay, yeah. It's not mirrored. If it were mirrored, then left and right would be flipped. So that's actually an honest representation of directions. Is that right? If I was looking there, yeah, it is. Well, maybe I don't need to flip anything. But I think I flipped that for some reason. I don't remember what it was. I probably will need to flip it actually if I move that over there, because then I'll have then I'll be like looking up here at the code, but on the camera I'll be going like this, which probably seems a bit weird. Or better still, I probably should just get a webcam that's on this monitor where I'm looking, so that way. Anyway, enough fourth wall breaking. What is going on? Probably this. I'm doing that. I'm not doing that yet, but that will be fun to do when I get to it. Yes, the sizing of parts on mount points. And yeah, so problem right now. So I've got two things to do. I should tackle them one at a time. But let me say what both of them are. So one thing is when these go on here, I want them to go bigger. And that's just, I changed the way I did it and did not adjust that. And they can get dragged off of there. The other thing is when I select a factory, right now it's doing nothing because I've removed that image. There, time to die. Brings back Diablo 2 memories. Anyway, yeah, so basically I'm not displaying those there. I was here because these mount points have an image and it does have a laser shrink wrapped, but it's not being enabled. So I've basically removed the code or commented out the code that makes that image show. So you can see like on this one, we've also got a laser. And for legs, well, I don't think it's actually updating the image either because it's supposed to set it to whatever is in that slot in the actual blueprint. But we're not using those images anymore, but the size of these images is 160 square. And I kind of forgot that. So when I was setting, when I was putting these on there, which you can't really see very well while I've got that image on there as well. I was resizing them, but it was resizing them to this tiny size of the mount point, which is like 59.08, 59.85. And then for like the legs, it would be doing like that, just happened to be the height. Is my phone doing something vibrating? Or is that just like my joints are now doing that when I move? Because I am not a newborn like I used to be. Anyway, so I guess it's like these are basically keeping their 100 by 100 unless I resize them. 160 by 160 seems like a good size. What might be a really good thing to do there actually is since I'm putting these as children, and I'm just realizing that maybe there's another bug. I can put plenty of lasers on there. Let's see if I replace it with a shield. That goes on there too. Okay, so I better add that to the list of things. Remove. I'm not typing the name of that for some reason. Hello, rename. What is the key shortcut for rename? Nope. It's gotten into some kind of weird not typing that name state. And I also think I've done something weird with this over in the scene. I've hidden most of these things. H. It would be nice to maybe learn what the key shortcuts are here. Okay. Alrighty. So let me just stop that because otherwise this is going to disappear. A very bad property of a to-do list to have items just disappear. So maybe if I feel like it later, I'll throw together a to-do list that lives in a scriptable object so that it won't get destroyed. If I made it a prefab and updated the prefab of the to-do list every time, that would also do the trick. Okay, bug can have multiple. Yeah, need to destroy old part and attaching a part. Yeah, okay, so let's just do these in order. This one here first. Now you want to do what I want you to do. So size of the parts. That is going to be in either draggable RoboPart or somewhere else. So an idea I was just thinking of is for the mount point, where I've got this mount point that has a it's got this image in here that I'm not using, and it's basically got this image here, which I am using. And also this size is determining the target, the drop target, and the size of the highlight. What if I just had the scaling like set up now? I probably want to just do a mount point as a empty object with the highlighter like drop target as a child, if that would work for getting the drop event up to the parent. And then I could actually have its size just be whatever size I want the part to fit on. But I'm just thinking if I have this, I'm just going to do a little experiment here, scale that up like 2 by 2. Do that. Run this first because then my experiment will get undone. Basically, just seeing if I scale the mount point, then will that cause the attached thing to scale? So this one I've just activated the highlight when I don't need to, but that's all right. I'm just gonna make this 60 by 60, just because that's a more round number. Now if I do that and then just change that to be 30 by 30, what behavior do I see? I'll hide that image now. Now let's grab a laser. Now it's still showing the same highlight. If I drop this somewhere out here, it doesn't attach, that's good. If I attach it on there, now it'd be nice if they changed color on hover so that you know that you're about to attach it there. Okay, that's now attached. I don't have a unit selected. Well, let me do that now. To avoid that, dropped on something apparently. A mount point, good. So go like that. So now these are not, just don't seem to be scaling at all. Here it's 100 by 100 there and 100 by 100 there. And it's not causing it to do any local scaling. So yeah, I think I'll just change the structure of those mount points real quick. So preperbs, I've got a mount point here. Oh. And that has got the mount point, which has its own highlight image. And then we've got our nested image element here. So we're not going to have that image anymore. Oops. So not going to have the image, but we are going to have a, this is going to be the highlight and target. Well, let's call it the drop target because the drop target will have the highlight on it. So I basically want to move that image. So I'll just copy that component, paste it on here. Where do I get my paste component as new? Oh wait, was this a thing that I figured out last time? Or I can just put that there. Now I've got a canvas renderer with color transparent mesh and image. Okay, that's fine. I don't think I actually need that anymore because it's not rendering. Now, hopefully that will automatically get drop events from its child. I'll need to update the script for mount point UI. So instead of whatever it's doing now, it will need something. Oh, yeah, cool. I'll do that as a serialized field. And say image. I'll just call that highlight. Oh, there we go, highlight image. There, so that's just a duplicate. Oops. I'll just comment that out for now. We'll clean that up later. We also shouldn't need part image anyway, because that's no longer being used. And we shouldn't need that either. Oh, Yeah, no. Just comment that out. And I'll just put that drop target, just drag that drop target into my script, and that shows up. It'd be interesting to write like a utility to just make for a briefer component in like child or children by name, like if it doesn't already exist, just to be able to say, yeah, there's a thing called drop target. I want the image out of that, just really concisely. Okay, highlight image. There we go. Got that drop target. Image component. So now we should have a working highlight image still. And does the on drop work? We will find out in a moment. Okay, this is the code from before. So that's good. So if we basically make this mount point now be 160 square, like before, and we make the drop target be like 60 square, but this will vary. We'll change that size based on what we want. And is there hover for do we have a hover event that we can react to? On mouse over? So I've got a couple of things open here. Here's Reddit. Like I know you can do a raycast, and if it hits the thing, then do the thing. This person says try Googling next time. It's the modern version of RTFM. Nice. I did Google. Took me here, and a very appropriate response to try Googling next time. So we got on pointer enter and on pointer exit. You could do something like that. Mouse over. Do something with a collider. Interesting. Okay, and how to detect in script if the mouse is over a script. Created a button. Create the object and so on. You don't use on mouse over for UI elements. Use I pointer enter handler and attach script to game object that you want to implement it on. Cool. So I don't know if I even said what I was looking at here. Basically, just a random comment I said before, if this area is like I want these to highlight when the part could go on there, like when the part that you're carrying is appropriate for that point. But also it'd be nice to have this change color when the in some way to let you know that it's about to be dropped on there, or it could be dropped on there. Yeah, highlight mount points. I think that's what's being called. Do we highlight? So that's enabling highlight image, which we've just bound that to a different image, which is cool. That's disabling it. And then I think basically we could use that thing. Now we've got enter and exit handler, move handler, up handler. I'm wondering, it'd be nice if there was an eye pointer over handler. But what about just to enter and exit handler? There we go. Okay. So I'll just get stub implementations for these. And what I can do with these is change the color. Here they are. Or I could have like a different image for when something's targeted. Let's say green. Now this is probably going to happen regardless of whether we're currently highlighting. I don't know if color.yellow is exactly what we've got there. But we also have alpha here. We're like 50%. Yeah, so probably want a color with alpha, which we probably just want a constant. Is there a, let's just say new color. And we've got some overloads, so that's good. RGB, RGB8. There we go. What have we got? Red, green, blue, alpha. What do these actually take? Is this a 0 to 1 scale, or are we looking at 256? Constructor. Oh, constructor's gone. Grey, 0.5, 0.5, yeah. So that is a 0 to 1 scale. You can go higher than 1 if you turn that on, which gives you cool glow stuff, glowy things. So, yep, that's good. Let me duplicate that and we'll get our hover color. And we'll just make that green instead of yellow. Oh, I'm going to enter, we want the hover color. And on exit, I'm going to set it back to the highlight color. And now let's see if that is as suspected, happening all the time, not just when it is supposed to. It'd be nice if I could set two colors and have it like toggle between them, but I guess that's where don't mind me just scratching on my nose, scratching my nose for no reason. I don't even wear glasses, I don't have any excuse. Now, I think I want this to be more like this size, but also I want like the outer mount point here to be a particular size. Could actually do this and then put that there. And I can do the thing I did with the other one. This is like to flip the part. I'll figure that out later, actually. This one here, I haven't scaled the outer thing. There we go. That should give it something close. And just make sure my thing basically works before I do that. Let's do enormous legs. Maybe the legs need to be bigger, hey? But the drop target still can be an appropriate size there. That's too big, but that doesn't matter for this test. And also all of those are going to be showing until I highlight and then unhighlight them. So if I get the legs to highlight and then stop highlighting. Okay, now what happens? Oh, it goes green. Fantastic. Okay, I'll let go of that. And does this mount point drop target here? Oh, it's not green. And that's got the original color, which isn't quite yellow. Let's see how that looks in comparison, like that versus that. Yeah, that's actually much more visible. Anyway, so that's good. And I should just make that the default color for those mount points. Yeah, move on. Let's just do RGB. RGB. 0.5. What? 0.5019? What is this? Floating point mathematics? Close enough. Okay. That I guess will work. It's in the prefab. So if I go until it's not quite highlighted and let go, it won't attach. If I go till it's just gone green and let go, it attaches. And it's not flipped, but that's something that I can probably fix just by grabbing that mount point. See, I had had it flipped with like a -1 there. That should flip it. Okay, so that's got the right size. That looks decent enough. Make this one the right size. Bring it over to here. This should be symmetrical, but There's nothing to stop me making them not symmetrical. If I just kind of wanted to give some people a horrible day by things not being symmetrical. Okay, so here we should have scale of -1, here scale of 1. And that on its own shouldn't do the trick, but the next thing to do is just size on drop like I was going to. Wait, I already have that happening, don't I? Yep, but in addition to that, I'll do the scale. So mount point. So that seems to be working pretty well. Because I guess they're not showing if you're not dragging apart. So it doesn't matter if they have the color set in the background. I guess if the image isn't enabled, then it's not going to actually count as a hover. That seems to be the case. Or no, that's right. It's just the fact that it gets a pointer exit. So it'll just flip back. So if I'll take that leg point and select it so we can see the color, and then I'll hover it with like a laser that doesn't belong on the legs. So there's the drop target for legs. It's got a color. If I go hover it like that, you can see the color change. And we'll get our shield and hover it. No hover is happening. Okay, do that. Get that there. And now if I release that, that actually now has, oh, all right, it's changing color even while I'm not dragging something. These aren't though. That's interesting. Oh, sorry. No, never mind. They are not the one I have selected. So, yeah, just ignore the ridiculousness of that. Also, green is not the correct color for the thing that's going to get dropped. That does look really weird when you have the wheel and the legs on at the same time. So I better stop that from being able to happen. I'm not trying to make that kind of game. Oh, hey, Omega Killer. I see some messages here. That was from 3 and 1 minutes ago. I just realized the chat's not there and it's over here now. Sizing issue fixed, yes. Yeah, it was scaling down to these. So now I've got these mount points being whatever size I wanted to scale to, and I've got the drop target that highlights actually smaller, and so this is where it will scale to or size to. But there's one thing I want to also do. This was broken. That's now not. Now I also want to use the scale, and that's because the laser is pointing the same direction for left and right. So local scale. So I get local scale. Let's see if that does the trick. I'm sure I can do better than just changing color as well. So this is green, but that doesn't show up well because the thing behind it is green. The points are green. That's something I can change, but I can just make this orange. So that's going to be like, that is yellow. We can make it orange by going less green. And I guess we want a floating point, not a What are they called? I keep thinking double precision floating point number. Yeah. Yeah. So I was just quickly changing that color to see how different color looks. So getting through that. So yeah, fixing that size, and then I'll be doing the next thing. Let's try that. Boom. That did not do what I wanted, and nor did that. And let's just investigate why, or investigate what has happened. So we've got that thing, and its scale is -1, which is what it should be. What happens if we switch that to 1? Will that make it flip around? It will. Okay. WTF. When I did not have that, it was facing the wrong way. And then when I did have that, it also was facing the wrong way. Hang on. Hang on here. What have we got? All right. So we've got that part. We're setting its parent to the mount point. We're setting its position to the mount point. We're getting the rect transform of the mount point and of the RoboPart, and we're making them the same size. Okay. So I could do this just by stretching it. Okay, so this mount point, scale -1. And, do you mind? I was trying to read that. Oh yeah, the local scale is going to be the scale locally. That's a tautology. Scale of the transform relative to the game object's parent. So then if I set local scale, it's going to be flipped. I don't want rotation because if I rotate, it's going to flip it upside down to face left. Whereas if I scale to negative on the X, it's going to actually sort of flip it like flipping over a piece of paper. So you could see that with that thing, with this scale. If I scale it I think while we're paused, it's not actually going to update the rendering of it, so let's just unpause. Yeah, so if I get that and scale it up, it's going to stretch it out. If I scale it down, it's going to like unstretch it. And it's getting squished, and then I get to 0, and then it flips the other way. So it draws the sprite backwards. So that's where having scale like that is good. More relevant if I were to say put a shield on here, which that's another bug I need to fix. If I got that shield and it's automatically picked up a scale of -1 because it's been parented to something with a scale of -1. Oh. I think if I use set parent, there might actually be something that I can do to prevent the automatic scaling. But yeah, you kind of see that that's what I want there. Well, if I set that to 1 like that, if instead it were to be like that and just rotated around the z-axis by 180, it's upside down. So that's the scaling negative means mirroring, and that it's like the axis that you do that on is determines what happens. So if I this is if I set these to 1, Unity's showing these as 1, but actually it's like -1 because the parent has -1 scale, so it sort of multiplies all the scales together. But if I do it on the y-axis, so that's the vertical axis, then scaling along that axis, we can flip it upside down. There we go. So now we've achieved the same thing as rotating 180 by doing that. So I could rotate it 180 and then scale it on the y-axis, but that would be a bit silly. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I can do, instead of that, draggable RoboPart.transform.setParent, and then I can give it that, and then the second argument is world position stays. If true, the parent relative position, scale, and rotation are modified such that the object keeps the same world, space, position, rotation, and scale as before. So basically, this object that I'm moving has a particular position, rotation, scale. When I change its parent, that position, rotation, and scale is applied from the center of, or the pivot of the parent, the new parent. If I just set it, if I use this, then I can go now hang on. If this is true, then it would keep the same position, rotation, and scale, and I don't want it to do that. I want it to actually flip. So I think if I set this false, that might be giving more control, because this should be coming up as a linting issue. But anyway, let's see if we do that and then we don't touch the local scale. Maybe that'll do what we want. We'll see. And that, like how scaling, rotation, etc. works, if you get into shader coding, then you kind of get to play around a lot with that. That gives you a good chance to sort of wrap your head around how it all works, because you are basically coding each point of a matrix. And so you kind of have to understand how scaling works. So if you want to draw a square that is a particular size, you can, for each pixel, you figure out, is that in the square? And if it is, make it this color, and if it's not, make it that color. I don't think I'm explaining that very well. I should just shade some coders. No, other way around, code some shaders at some point. Because yeah, you can basically just if you're splitting an image onto the screen, you've got a shader that does that, but you want the image to be flipped. Then when you're at a particular point, you basically want to look for the point on the opposite side of the source image and draw that, and so on. So you basically take your coordinate on, say, the x-axis and invert it to look for the opposite coordinate, or something along those lines, depending on how your coordinates are working, because you can use different coordinate systems. But yeah, that's beyond the scope of what I'm trying to do right here. Because what am I trying to do? I'm trying to run this code and see if that works. And hopefully not spend all of my available time just getting the sizing working, because I'm getting a bit sick of working on this. So I want to get it fully working enough to use. Yeah, I think that orange looks decent. Didn't want to go for red. I should be putting one here. Okay, so that's still the wrong way. And so that has, what do we got this? We got this. So that mount point here, that's the relevant one, isn't it? So we've ended up with a scale of -1. So we said false for world position stays. Oh wait, it is. I'm doing something silly here. Yes, that. But not this. We just want a one vector. Because wait, is it going to work? Yeah. Does these have like a similar setter function? You can set position and rotation. No, it looks like there's nothing with scale. Anyway, I think that's what we want to do. Just say whatever's going on in the parent, just make this thing standard scaling, and that should kind of flip the that should just have it take on whatever scale the parent has. There we go. Yeah. So this shouldn't really be necessary, since like whatever that was set to, we're just changing the size and the scale and the position anyway. I guess that now has worked. But yeah, I could do it without the size delta. So I could just use the actual local scale to mess with it, make it work. But anyway, that works. Done. I'll dust my hands of it for the moment and come back and clean up the the code later. Oh yes, that's right. I forgot. Keep forgetting that this is here. So. I really love that about C# that they just make the syntax make like just easy to use. Like we know it's a color, so why I have to write color again? Like yeah, sometimes you want to make a subclass and write it at that point, but at least for the probably most common case, just don't require it. Cool, that seems to be working. What is this on drop to do? Become parent of draggable RoboParts. Snap it into position. Done. So yeah, we set the appropriate thing, do all of that, and going to just check that the legs. Look at that. That looks amazing. And by amazing, I mean not entirely horrible, because it's approximately the right size. I'm just going to do a little quick fix on the legs, mount point alignment. Yeah, I think this should go more like there. Must remember that this is only temporary. And basically, once this is all kind of working functionality-wise, I can go through the whole thing and actually design the UI. You know, once I'll have figured out all the elements that I'm using. Yeah, C++ and C#, very different. Garbage collection is not like amazing for performance. You can certainly shoot yourself in the foot with it, but it is a lot less to think about than managing your own memory. There we go. Yeah, so I must make sure that I don't spend more than a handful of seconds here and there tweaking UI when it's really just sort of the discovery phase at this point. And then there will be a polish phase later when I can figure out what's going on, figure out all the things that I need based on what I've got there and how to make it all look good. Or at least unhorrible and slightly usable. I should have this thing here. Right, so I've done that, yes. And what's the rest of that name? Make trackable RoboPart instance on mount points and factory is selected. Ah, yes. But I'll just quickly fix that bug first. Oh, just realized this is like, because this is a game object, I can actually put it like in an appropriate place. And that one probably belongs on there as well. That's an interesting property of that. You could make a to-do system that I know this is just like kind of silly having this here. But this has got me thinking like, yeah, if you made a to-do system that used like scriptable objects, you could actually have your to-do. You could just have to-dos that are like attached onto parts of your UI and in locations in your game. And that could be rendered as icons and expanded to show the full text. Interesting. That there might be something useful there in tooling. I love making like good tooling. I just need to get into a context where I can spend a bunch of time doing that without it cutting too much into the other productivity. Anyway, okay, destroy the old part. So basically what happens here when we've got our child draggable RoboPart getting dropped on here, before we do this stuff, we need to destroy the other one. So here, like remove. So what kind of state do I have on this? Because I know I've got like the mountain point that this represents, my highlight image. Yep, I've got a RoboPart that is set in here. And this property, when that gets set, yeah, that's something to fix. Right, I've removed that image completely. Don't need to look those up like that anymore. I don't need to even do that anymore, but I do need to do that. Yes, I'll need to deal with that case as well. So I'm going to have to make a factory in the code sense that can produce the draggable RoboPart instances that I want. Don't have those anymore. Don't need that anymore. Okay. Now this is the part being dropped on here. And this probably could do with being broken up. It's not that big, but it's getting to a bit too much. I can get rid of that logging. I'll leave that warning in there because it could help avoid some like pitfalls of like what's going on here if I forgot something. Incompatible parts. Yeah. That one, maybe. I'm not sure if this will need to be public, but I might want to call it from elsewhere, so I'll just do public for now. Okay, so we'll check if we have a RoboPart card attached. Now I could have this code just find that attached part, but I also could just have that be cached. And I think that would be useful. And that probably just needs to be a game object, maybe. I'll do it as a draggable RoboPart because that's just what has been attached to it. There we go, we'll call that attached RoboPart. And then here, Now I could have both of these kind of be set. Actually, why don't I don't really need this now. Oh, interesting. So, like, this could return, instead of just RoboPart, it could return that. So let's just read it directly out of here. And the only thing then is it should be read only, because we should be able to set that in there. But yeah, if you set that, it'll never do that. I'll leave that there as like an interesting reminder, and I might change it to work that way, but it would mean that I need to have this be set, not this be set. So I need to consider that. Or when you set this, it would actually like create an attached RoboPart, attach it, and then you read out of it, which I'll need to do when that gets set, which is what this is about. So that thing. Which you can't read all of, but oh. It's not a perfect to-do system, but it's also not meant to be a to-do system. It's meant to be the object hierarchy. Okay, so how do we clear RoboPart? Basically, probably want to make RoboPart equal null, and if we do have an attached RoboPart, well, if we don't have an attached RoboPart, there's nothing else to do. So I'll just do a guard. And then we're going to go destroy attached RoboPart. .game object. You want to remove the whole thing, not just the script. And then we want to do attached RoboPart equals null, so that way we won't accidentally be returning the RoboPart from that. So that's what happens right now. That should allow clearing that before we attach a new one, so that should fix that. And then I need to create one. So basically we've got them being created up here, ready to be dragged around. So I just need to have them created. Just move that creation out of there. So we'll go lasers, shields. Good, that seems to be basically working. We don't actually have a factory selected here. So let's go lasers. See if we get lasery. But yeah, it's got laser. Let's do like a shield there. We should end up with laser and shield, yes. And do another shield. And we should get shield. Yep, just shield on that one. Selecting it probably won't be displaying these. And also, this should not be editable if the robot is, if a non-factory is selected. So, okay, that bit seems to be working. So, there, destroy all part, done. This one next. Make those blah 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 when blah blah blah. So that's going to be in it's going to be in RoboPart card, isn't it? These guys here. Yes, we have RoboPart card, and they have a nested draggable RoboPart. So here, make new child. So instantiating that and setting the RoboPart to the appropriate RoboPart. So that is something we could, it's kind of very simple, but we do have this draggable RoboPart prefab that will be attaching in multiple places. So yeah, let's just make a, oh, hang on, I was about to make a, yeah, I'll make a singleton script here. This is really related to the blueprint editor only. So we'll just make a new script, and this is going to be my draggable RoboPart factory. Kind of overloaded factory here because that's factory in the programming sense. But that's okay because draggable RoboPart is not like a thing in the game world. So it'd be nice if I didn't have to wait for this before it would let me open this in here. I probably could open it from my solution here, but anyway, this is basically a, I'll make it a singleton. So yeah, there we go. Instance. And yep, I'm going to instance property with get. Do I need that, or would it be enough to just do like get private set? And then start. I think I have another singleton that I can just do this a little quicker with copy paste. It is the blueprint editor. Yeah, right. Yeah, there we go. Internal set. Oh, wait. But if I make that private, I think that should be fine because it's still internal usage. Cool. And I'll just grab this whole awake here. That's basically all we need. It's not like significant enough to really like there's not much to this. I'm actually going to do that because it's just a bit verbose. Okay, so we basically destroy themselves if there already was an instance. So that is one way to make something a singleton. So these are they have to be a singleton, not static, because we need a monobehavior instance to do monobehavior things. And so we're going to need actually steal this, like not just copy paste steal, but actually steal as in take away that from there and bring it into the factory. So let's see, that's all stuff related to it being a singleton. So I'll just put this below that. And this is actually a drag a RoboPart prefab. And also, that's enough for me to get one of these into the scene. And I'll pop that right on the blueprint editor. These are indistinguishable without longer names. Here we go. I'll pop that on the blueprint editor because I think we just need that script to be somewhere. Is it accepting that? I don't think it's letting build happen. Saying stop trying to make build happen. That factory instance. And we're going to want to instantiate this, and we want it actually instantiated with this thing as the parent. Yeah, we just don't want to give it the same name as instantiate because it's a mono behavior, so it has an instantiate. Method attached to it. Okay, so this can do two things. We can basically, we know we're going to be setting RoboPart on that, RoboPart, so let's make sure it has to take that. The factory can handle that bit. And also, we will give it this transform, which I can make optional, and that'll be the transform to instantiate it under as the parent, if it's provided. There we go. And so now this, oh, actually, I'm going to undo that. The reason I'm undoing that is because I think if I do this first, then that will make sure it actually returns what it should in the generated method. Now, do we actually need that? It looks like all we're doing is this instantiating and setting RoboPart. So I don't think we need to actually do anything there with it. So we don't need this return value, but we will somewhere else. Oh, raggable. I don't know what that means. But yes. And I'm sure I don't need that little bit of code anymore. Okay. Hey, messages. How goes the robots? Mary Pun, they're going okay, but I'm getting a bit sick of working on this UI. But I think I'm on the last bit of that, so that's good. I'm just basically making it so that when you select a factory, it will make what it should. And that should be the last bit of this UI, other than making it not be open when you select a robot. Or, yeah. The other problem is you can probably select a robot and edit its blueprint at this point, which I don't want to allow. Anyway, I've just made this thing, and yes, we don't want that one. We just want this one. Yeah, so the next thing on the list up there is computing the robot cost based on the blueprint. I might just not do that right away because it's kind of, it will determine how quickly robots are made based on what parts are attached. But there's probably, yeah, I think customizing the actions in the routine, making these list of available things be dependent on the parts, that I think will provide more value. Anyway, did I copy that code from the other place? Let me get this made. Yes, here we go. Oops. It's a different key shortcut to increase the level of comment and decrease the level of commenting. Okay, that should not be child prefab, but it should be that one down there. I could just call this prefab, you know. From the context, it is obvious that this is the prefab because there is only one prefab. I could use object pooling here to reduce garbage collection. That's kind of an advantage of having this factory. It would allow me to have an object pool of these things so that anything that wants to destroy one, it would just need to return it to the pool instead. Oops, yeah, transform here. There we go, so equals null, making it default. I know it's unused, that's because I haven't used it yet. A bit of patience, please. There. Oops, that was not what I wanted to close. Oh, maybe I did. I just wanted to unpin that or something. I think I just closed my tree. Oh well, doesn't matter. Right, why is this so big? I think I've zoomed this more than I need to. There. It's making it so that the magnified version is like not readable either. Right, so I'm instantiating it with this transform. I don't know if that's fine to call like that, or if it's going to hit the wrong overload. So I'll just say just duplicate that bit there. It'll just call it literally with just the prefab, and otherwise it'll do that. Would that make the blueprint editor the parent? Maybe. And I think that would be fine, actually, because I think that's what they do themselves when they start dragging. So, yeah. Just settle that, keep that extra space in there. Okay, so now we've got our factory, and it can make those. So now to use the factory in the other place, which is in the mount point. So we've got RoboPart here. Now, I don't actually want to create a new one here. So I can actually get around my setter by just setting the private field directly. But if it's set with the property, I'll just hit a bit of Shift F12 here to look at where that's used. Oh, interesting. If I set that to null, then I would actually want to do clear RoboPart. Where am I here? Blueprint editor, yeah. Oh yeah, so I should be looking all the way over here. So it's used in Blueprint editor and just this one place. Which is just to tell the Blueprint editor that it has got a part mounted so that can handle updating the blueprint. Yeah. So, yep, that's good. I could probably fix something up in here while I'm at it. Oh, that's good. It won't actually change the robot parts. It would be nice to also have that set this into a mode where it's just viewing the blueprint view only. Which I think I might have for the other thing. That's setting it to null. So yeah, that should clear RoboPart. So I'll make it do that. Bring that over here. No, there. And yep. So in the mount point here. That's not what I wanted. There we go. So if that gets set to null, then it will clear it. And it actually trigger that by doing this. So clear the existing one. And then we've already set RoboPart equals value. So when we do clear RoboPart, yeah, that'll just again set it to null. And get rid of the attached RoboPart if one exists. And actually, I could probably put that up here. Because clear RoboPart will get rid of the value anyway. And that could just return. Actually, that gets more verbose than just pop that there. Just grab an else. Although then I've got a level of indentation for here. That should be fine as long as this bit isn't all this code in here. I really just need to do the factory. But now I need to also do this thing. So basically, everything after here is attaching. So making sure that it's. Oh, what am I doing here? Take both of those. Don't think I need both. I'll just comment that one out for now in case I get weird behavior, then I'll know. Just comment that one out. We're doing all like the setting the position. We're getting the scaling and stuff right. And we're telling that a part has been mounted. That's different. But all this stuff is attaching it. So let's just extract a method for that. And that is attach part. I guess it's like the UI. But let's just call it draggable RoboPart. Because that is the fact that it's a draggable one says that it's a UI thing without having to specifically say so. And now this is shadowing that. Basically, oh, no, it's not shadowing anything. That's called attached RoboPart. And yeah, so let's just, from context, this can be a lot shorter. It can just be called part. So our attached RoboPart equals that part. Our RoboPart is equal to that part's RoboPart. Which we've kind of already done here, but that's when they dropped on its different behavior. So I'll just move that to there because we don't actually need that when it has been set with the setter. It's a bit weird doing it that way. That's okay. I just realized that dragging the part out of the slot might not actually zero it as well. To add an item for that. And look at the time. I'm also, wow, a whole other stream. Well, I've been starting the streams a little late, so I'm not getting quite as much done as usual. We'll be back to normal routine after this week. So that should help with that. I was about to write something here. On drop. Oh, make sure. Dragging part away. Updates. Point UI. And there we go. Okay, cool. I'm glad it's interesting. It's it's I don't know if it's like 3, 4, 5, 15 streams that it's taken so far, just working on this. But it gets a bit old when it's not like really gameplay. Some of it I probably could just use better patterns. which I've sort of just cobbled this together rather than thinking in terms of proper systems that are sort of self-contained that will make things easier to work with. But that's okay. So we got that. We set RoboPart to the RoboPart of whatever was dropped. And I'm going to rename this to dropped RoboPart. There we go. Even though it's not like the name of what it is, it sort of describes how it got there. It's basically a dropped object. It's the RoboPart that was on that dropped object. So yeah, now we attach it, which we can do when one is dropped on there, but we can also do that with this thing. Just call that, and attach. There we go. So that should no longer be missing. And this really should be like I kind of shouldn't need to have this line here that's like doing that. It should be in here. I should check. So value equals null. That one's fine. Set it to null. It should just clear out whatever's there. I guess really either way, if this is set with the setter, it means that whatever's there should have been cleared. So yeah, I should be able to just do that. And then it should literally just do that regardless. Oh, yeah. No. Now I've just got this problem where I can't actually use that there. Yeah, that's okay, I think. The setter is for external, sorry, the property is for external things to set this. I don't need to use it internally. And that's that. We can do that. I wasn't about to do that. I was about to inline temporary. What did I just do? I think I just undid the implicit type. There we go, inline that. That's a mouthful. That line is so long that I am tempted to like pull it out into a method just because of how long it is. But instead, I'll just do that. So we're attaching that thing, which does not set RoboPart. It just does this. Yeah, should be all good. I think I'm taking a million years on things because it's getting late. Okay, is that right? No, not quite. because that will actually create a new one and attach it just there. So I should be doing that. And call this after all. I'm sure there's an elegant way I could do that, but it doesn't need to be elegant. Yep, I don't think boring's the word, really. It's more tedious. It's like if I were on holiday and no, let's put it a different way. If I had $1 billion and I could just spend all the time I want building this, I could just choose, I want to spend this much time with family and then the rest of the time building this, then it'd be fine because, I could sit down for 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever, and just work on it. And then, that would have been all kind of done and working in half a day or something. So it's really just, it's frustrating and tedious because of the other things that I want to use my time for, and the fact that my time is limited. And I think that's really what it boils down to. But certainly there are other things that are more entertaining than the UI code. It's satisfying to get it working though. It's just like cobbling things together and keep tinkering until they work. So yeah, we're clearing the RoboPart. We set the RoboPart just the private field to not trigger any of this behavior. And then we attach our RoboPart. So effectively, like that bit and that bit are shared, but and that bit are kind of shared, but it's like where that comes from is the thing that's different. Which is interesting because actually that means, and that's the thing, like this, like just fiddling with the code is quite entertaining. It's just not so satisfying to fiddle with the code for a long time and then end up with something that's has not progressed very far. I'm going to pull this back out into a temporary variable. Yes, part is a fine name for that. Now there is some method to this madness. Wait, do I have a join lines? I like using join lines for stuff like this. What is the shortcut to just show me all of the possible commands that there are? Edit. Do I have a join lines? Tools. I know I can just use the basic editing, but I want to find out how it works so I can use it all the time. Let's have a look on super user. Okay, tools, options, environment, keyboard, edit, join lines. tools, options, something. Environment, keyboard. Edit join lines. Okay. Shift Alt L and Shift Alt J. Globally. That'll do. Not sure what other shortcuts are configured here. Lines. Join. I see. Interesting. What quick actions do I have here? Fix formatting. Yes. Cool. So I guess Shift Alt L is line related shortcuts. Does that actually tell me? Yes, Shift Alt L was pressed, waiting for second key of chord. Excuse me. I do not know. Shift Alt L escape is not a command. Yeah, so basically now we're creating a part, draggable RoboPart instance to use that's attached to our own transform already. Not that that matters because it's going to be attached again, but then we clear the RoboPart, whatever we did have attached as attached RoboPart, and that'll set the value to null. Then we set RoboPart equals value, but actually instead of value, let's grab part dot RoboPart, and then we'll attach that part. Now this is what we want to do. Here, now you might notice that looks very similar. If I just rename that to part, now it looks even more similar. In fact, identical. So that's cool. The only thing that this is not handling is if value equals null. Then we just want to clear RoboPart. So that's all we want to do if it's null. Otherwise, we'll create a part, clear any existing part. I guess we don't need to do that in that order. No, we do. Sorry, we do, because now this can be extracted to a method. Did I not? Let's just undo all of that. Because this should be able, even with the names being different, we should be able to replace the other duplicate. So what are we doing? We've got a RoboPart ready to attach. We're clearing whatever was there, setting the RoboPart and attaching the new one. This might actually just be attach RoboPart. So yeah, we've got a draggable RoboPart, And we've got this attached RoboPart 2, which is the same as that stuff there. There we go, so that's the same. So that's just clearing an existing and setting. So it's like attach that. Okay. Okay, now these belong together. This and this. But they're also, like, this is only used in here. So I could just combine these into a single one by deleting that. Just thinking of, like, is there a distinction? No, I am going to, like, basically replace that with the body. Actually, I can probably just use refactoring tools for that. It's only used once, right? Oops. I guess referenced once. So can I not only give me that? Can't I inline it? No. Well, doesn't matter. It's called part there and it's called part here, so I can just delete that. Leave that there. Okay, so now that's fine. I can split that out if I want to at some point. Now, yeah, we've got clear RoboPart being used in 2 places, so that's good. Oh, yeah, that's better. Now, we basically, check if it exists and matches and everything, and then we just attach it. And we tell the blueprint editor, in this case, that it's been attached, because that's what happens when it's dropped on there. The other one doesn't belong in here, because that's coming from something setting this. But does that work? Minimize you. Run this. I've gone a bit over time, but I started late. But I have a big day tomorrow. Giving a presentation, teaching something. At least unlike the last one, where I was teaching something that I hadn't really learned yet before I started preparing for it. At least this time. Cool. Is that maybe actually? Yeah, I need a prefab in there. Oops, that's not a good thing to do. Okay. There. I'm going to put this up here. So I think that's a good place for that. All right, so now we actually have our prefab in there that we need. I think I might have set that before and then renamed the field. Okay, that is not what I'm expecting to see. What? I have some enormous parts in here. And I don't know why. Try clicking on one. Okay, we got a draggable RoboPart right here, and there, and there. They are what? Direct children of the blueprint editor. So they've been instantiated by that. Or yeah. So they would have been instantiated by the thing. They are not children. Let me pause this to. I'll just unpause it. There we go. Just so I don't have all those lasers and explosions. Not that it makes any difference to anything at all. Okay, so on the panel, we've got that thing. We've got these cards, which should have these as their children, and they don't. And so that's the problem. Blueprint editor. No, this factory. Oh, yeah. There we go. That should be who the parent is. And then in Mountpoint UI, I'm using that and passing this thing's own transform. And in here, so our own transform here. Not sure if this deserves its own thing. Its own whole method, but I guess I could have potentially fixed this in one place and not the other by not having it in a method. So it's sort of a point in favor of giving things methods, even if they don't look very complicated. Extreme duplication reduction. Okay. All right, let's give that another roll. Another run. Give it another try. Give it a whirl. Let's twirl it. Okay, this is looking less ridiculous. These seem to be in the right place visually and hierarchically. Let's say that. Let me select this. Okay, a laser is there. And we got a null reference exception. So let's have a look what happened there. Okay, this is in the draggable RoboPart. One. So we're talking about a draggable RoboPart, which is probably the one that just got dropped. But we apparently have called set RoboPart. Who called that? Okay. So we called the setter for that property, for the RoboPart property. That's that. Now that was called from new draggable RoboPart. So when the factory creates it, create it. So it instantiates that. That should be that. Anyway, that's not what was causing that though. So we instantiate this. From the prefab, which is that. Draggable RoboParts. I think I just dropped a script into a prefab slot before, so let me stop that. Let me grab a prefab for draggable RoboPart. Oh no, that did work. And it wouldn't have actually made sense if I didn't do that. Okay, but we've just instantiated it. And now we're calling child.robopart equals robopart. And so if we jump to that property, so now we're doing a set on here. That bit's fine, but maybe it's only just instantiated. So when we set that, what is the problem? Interesting. Okay, this is interesting. So when we selected something, the blueprint editor had its selection updated. It called set RoboPart, which should have caused that to ask the factory to create a RoboPart. And basically, it's just not finding image on this thing, which clearly has got an image right there. Unless it's actually robopart.sprite that's causing that. In which case, is that consistent with that? Okay, yeah, so if that's trying to call sprite, if that is null, I think RoboPart is a struct, no, class. Okay, I think I know what's happening. I think I know what my bug here is. It is that basically this is trying to create parts for things that are null. Does that maybe make sense? Doing set. And we have this if value equals null, then update that clear RoboPart and return. Clear RoboPart being make that null, which means we don't need that. So make that null. If we don't have an attached run, return, and then destroy the game object. If we did have one, and null that out. Yeah, I don't know. Weird. Well, we get this setter and add some logging. RoboPart equals, and then here's the value that we are trying to set. And then it'll either log like clearing or we will look here. And this is what's actually happening. Yeah, so basically make a part and then act like that part was dropped onto here. That's weird. I don't think that logging's going to really help because it's like after that stuff. Also, it was long enough for me to forget what I actually did. So if we just get some legs and like drop them on here. Got no unit selected, but hey, that's okay. All right, so if I select something, now we get a null reference. So we got here, lasers and stuff. I think we're also like, I think because it's hitting that null. There. I'm going to save all in case there was something missing. Because that's bringing me to the wrong line in there. Oh. Yes, good point. I could set a breakpoint if I had attached this for debugging, which I should be able to do. It should be relatively easy. Working on so much UI code and stuff in contexts where attaching a debugger is not very feasible, that I've kind of gotten the habit of debugging by logging a lot more than anything else. Okay, now I just want to have a quick look. Like this can drop there and that works okay. If I grab this off here and just let go of it, that's destroyed, but this thing might still have I still have something set. That's one of the possibilities actually, is if I drop this on here. Oh, I think that's fine because it would have become equal to null when it got destroyed, the part that was removed. Okay, so we're there. Now the issue here was the second I click on this, boom. Yeah, we've got like setting and creating being hit, and then we're getting that null reference exception right there. So why don't we jump in there? Let's see about setting a breakpoint, which I have not done for a bit, but let's see where we're up to. We're in draggable RoboPart. So there, click, double click. Where's my breakpoint setting gone? There, all the way over here. Okay, so I need to attach to Unity. And play. Let me stop that playing. Let's see how that goes. Is that going to cause anything to happen? Oh, was I just selecting that? You are trying to attach a debugger. How dare you? But debug mode is switched off in your project. You fool. What have you done? When you is in debug mode, C# performance is reduced. But you can attach a debugger. Switching to debug mode also recompiles and reloads all scripts. You can enable debug mode temporarily for this edit session. Switch it on for all projects until further notice, or cancel attaching the debugger. If you switch it on for all projects, you can change it later in the code optimization on startup setting in the preferences window. Let's just click this. Sorry, I was just having fun with, I don't know where I got that voice from. I think possibly Black and White. Maybe a combination of Black and White and Dungeon Keeper. Anyway, we have debugging mode on, and I don't know what this thinks it's doing. I think this is just attached, waiting. So if that's switched on, let me just try pressing play and see what happens. Compiling. Why would I want to do that? This is, oh, where are we? I was looking at my magnified cursor, not my real one. This says ready. It does say compiling scripts, yes. That is true. Guess that's compiling everything. I thought that had lightning for a second. Just, hey, Gorilla Mod. Slowly, I'm still getting this UI working for parts editing, but it should be close. I'm just debugging something. Maybe this is why I got in the habit of using logging, because of the time it takes to recompile everything for the debugger. So other than the fact that something is null when I don't expect it to be, other than that, this should all be basically working. But yeah, ironing out all the kinks in this system. And the next time I can move on to something else. I've gone over time by like an hour. That's how much I want to get this bit out of the way. And is this like this because this is paused? Because I think it might be. Anyway, we've got a debugger running. So we have got RoboPart right here, and the value is null. And so that makes sense that we would have, that would be bad to do. But also, like, why are we doing this? And why would we have a draggable RoboPart that is having its RoboPart set to null? That doesn't make any sense. So, yeah, where did that come from? Where's our stack? Here's the call stack. So we've got this call to set draggable RoboPart. And sorry, this is a call to set RoboPart on draggable RoboPart. This was called from new draggable RoboPart. So why would we ever be calling new draggable RoboPart with a null RoboPart? I'm just going to hit continue here and let that have a few more errors. Presumably. You okay there or not? Oh, we should have 4 of those, right? So continue from all of those. And now we're running. It has once again cleared. So what? Yeah, that's really weird. Anyway, let me get the situation that I had before. Where I click on this. Okay, so now we presumably are iterating these in order, which is this one, this one, this one. First one being called with null RoboPart. So if I continue, I'll get the exception on there. And I think that's the only one that was called, but it has ended up with laser in here. So I'm guessing there's something just very wrong with my code here. I think I need to look further up the stack. So, like, my stack with that exception has the factory being called from Mount Point UI, being called from Blueprint Editor 128. So probably around there would be a good place to just, don't need that breakpoint there if I just jump into this one. Okay, so that was when it was setting the right arm, blueprint.right arm. Oh, okay. It's setting blueprint.right arm. Into okay, so it's going through each of these mount points. And then for that mount point, it is basically going, okay, tell me what is set in the blueprint. Now that factory has a blueprint, surely. There is the factory. Is that the factory? That's the factory bars of the factory. Here's the factory. And I don't think I have visibility of that blueprint. All I know is that that has a default left arm, default right arm, and default legs set, and they seem to be working. Here, because I can see the shield getting set in here. All right. So basically, this should be setting blueprint.right arm to shield. I mean, blueprint.right arm should be shield. It should be setting shield in here. And that is this RoboPart right here, shield. It has everything in it. It has a name, has that mount point, an action, and it has the shield sprite. So that should be setting that in there. Let's, I guess, stop that from running. And is this still attached? Guess probably. Run that. Okay, so let's see, where are we? Yeah, and this, for context, this is when the selection is updated, so that's exactly what we want. We want to select this. Hopefully that was the factory and not the robot that just spawned out of it. I think it was the factory, because I think, yeah, I got a pretty tight collider on that. Okay, so here we go. We're getting to this point, and we've got our blueprint. Blueprint.right arm is the shield RoboPart. Mount point arm, part name shields right here. So that's there. And now it's our step into F11. So let's step into this. And so now we're in the setter for mount point UI. And we should have value, which is that shield RoboPart. And we got statement. Yes, we want Alt plus numpad star. Really? Weird. Yeah. Does that work? I'm just going to press that button. Or do I need to like step into this body? Okay, we're just logging that. Wait, what does that actually do? I don't want to step into a debug log, so I'll step over that. And if value equals null, it should evaluate to false. Yep. And step over. So we got F11 in, F10 over, Shift F11 out. Okay. Cool. Setting and creating. So where are we at here? All right. So yeah, so now we know we've got a non-null value, which in this case is that shield robo part. Oh. Yep. There we go. There's your problem. So cool. Debugger worked. Gorilla Mod. Your keyboard is old and broken, hey? That was 10 minutes ago. So I don't know if it was related to something I said. I really got to make a noise happen when YouTube messages come in because I'm really bad at noticing those. Yeah, I actually have a pretty good keyboard. It's a mechanical keyboard I got. I wasn't meaning to, but then someone at work at the job I had at the time, which was getting quite a while ago now, had this G710 Plus that was too noisy for their partner. So they just bought it and then it needed a new home. So I ended up with it. And earlier in the year, I completely dismantled it because I spilled quite a lot of a drink in there. So I needed to pretty much wash the whole thing out thoroughly with isopropyl alcohol. So that was fun. I learned how to dismantle that keyboard. And now I know more about my keyboard, particularly how to rip it apart. And I'm about to do that with my phone because keep correct Q1. Okay. Yeah, I like the clicky clacky keys. They're pretty good. I'm not usually trying to be particularly quiet. I don't know how well this will show up, but where's the actual camera? Probably not showing up very well right now. Turn on some light. I managed to crack this glass. No, there, that glass there. So there's a hole that shards have come out of, and there are some like spiderweb cracks around here. Glass on the camera. So I'm going to need to get that like ripped off. I can get a replacement glass for $4, which I don't think is genuine and possibly not properly tampered. But I might get that anyway if I can't get a OEM part, or if the parts are too what? Oh yeah, that should fix it, by the way, because I was just passing my not yet set RoboPart value as what to use when creating the new draggable part. So that was ending up being null, even though it shouldn't have. I was passing the wrong thing through. So that should fix that. And now, if I, well, I'll need to stop debugging here. Yeah, it's getting pretty old, this phone, but I ended up, the screen died just at the right time from a manufacturer defect. So I ended up getting it replaced with a bit of talking to Samsung and convincing them that, yes, it had broken during the warranty period. I just took a while to get around to contacting them about it. But that ended up giving me, I guess because of how things work, I ended up with a new screen, new battery, and so that kind of extended its lifetime. But I also have recently cracked the back glass on it, so I might just, if the price is right, I might just replace the whole back glass plus camera cover assembly. Just to save the bother of like picking all of the little bits of glass off the frame that goes around the camera. But yeah, I'm going to learn some stuff about how my phone works how it looks internally. This laptop that I'm working on here, I've kind of done several things, pulling it apart, putting things back together because it was having some issues. Also, I had to get the battery out because it was swelling. So now it's a plugged-in laptop that is effectively a desktop. So that should work. I have stopped debugging, I believe. Now if I run this, I'll look for a beautiful lack of red on here. Okay, so yeah, nothing while those were being created, I think. Put a laser on there. Replace that with a shield. Go double shield. Oh, I also have nothing selected. There we go. That gave me a non-reference exception right there when I selected something. Which means maybe I didn't fix something. That's another set RoboPart coming from Mount UI. Okay, have a quick look. So going through here, passing the RoboPart through, which now should actually be the value that was being set. That should be okay now, we expect. Now, is this code doing what I expect it to? This is where we're failing, right? When we're setting that, it's trying to set it to that. So I guess we'll debug from there. So what are we actually getting there? Is it the same location? Yeah, trying to set RoboPart.sprite, where possibly RoboPart is null. Okay. So we'll attach that. Does attach and play. Actually attach and play. Or do you still have to press play? Alrighty. So it should be running now. And what I want to do here, oh, no, not running. Was that running and I stopped it running? I don't know. Too late in the evening to remember things for that long. Okay, so we've basically got that happening for each of those 4 things. So expect 4 of them. Okay, now I'll select this. Now we're hitting the right arm breakpoint that I had set before. I'll continue from that one because the next one should pick it up here. So now at this point, this should be that call stack, right? Of we've done a selection that has caused selection updated in the blueprint editor, and that has led us to set a RoboPart, and in the Mount UI, and that is creating the RoboPart instance to use. And here we are. We've got the child. It is a draggable RoboPart clone. Child.RoboPart currently is null. RoboPart is shield RoboPart. So that all looks good. Everything looks to be as it should be. So I want to step into that. That's F11. Yes. Yes, let's step into that setter. And so here we are ready to set that. Okay. So now we have RoboPart currently null. And so on, and the value is shield. Now we set RoboPart to value. So it's showing us null, I guess, before this statement runs. Yeah. So now let's get after that statement. Now RoboPart is equal to shield. And shield shrink wrapped is equal to that. So those things are all okay. But what about this get component image dot sprite? Run execution to here. I'm going to try pressing this button just to see what happens. What just happened? Nothing bad. This actually set the laser. Oh, which that was working. Actually, it was setting the laser, but then it was failing before doing this. So that's interesting. So now are we on? Where are we now? We're back to the factory. We've set the RoboPart. Successfully this time. Okay, setting that. Now that's that. And stepped into that. I need to step out of that. Okay, so that one worked fine. So it's just being around the same stuff. I'm going to hit continue. And here are the legs. Okay, so I think we had like laser legs. So now we've got a standard legs RoboPart that we're trying to set on this child, which currently has a null RoboPart, and has just been created. So step into that. RoboPart is null. Value is standard legs. That is updating it. Now it is updated. How can I just like evaluate part of this? Let's just try to step into that, I guess. Sprite. Set is calling set. This is the setter on image, which means that it has the image to set the sprite into. And I guess we're calling that, okay, so value here, standard legs, shrink wrap sprite. So we got the sprite. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. If I can pop that into a separate variable, it might just be that it's like not fully finished instantiating. I'm kind of thinking it might be just instantiating, but not getting the image component on it yet. But yeah, definitely that'll, even without debugging, that'll tell me. Yeah, I might just stop debugging on there and do that. Really? Shift tab doesn't work when I'm focused there. Okay. Let's just wait for that to do its thing. Cold. Well, should have worn something warmer. In fact, I will. It's winter, so why not wear a dressing gown? There we go. I feel like just a big fluffy tuna would be even better at this point. Oh yeah, good point. Almost 3 hours. And yes, this coldness is actually telling me go to bed. Oh, it's hard for me to just leave something half debugged though. All right. So let me do the offensive thing. Select a factory. You see that, right? It just worked. I hope that wasn't just like I'd fixed it by updating value, but I had to like stop debugging to let it pick up the new thing. Well, it's not broken now. It seems to be working. I'm not 100% sure that that splitting this up like this wasn't the fix. So I'm just going to leave that like that, just in case it was some kind of magic related to that. What happened to those legs? I drop them there, grab them again. For one thing, its color is stuck until I hover over. I'm not going to worry about that, that's just cosmetic. But also I should be able to drop those back on there. And I can't. Oh, I know why. Because that was already the thing in there. Yeah, I should not destroy the thing you drop on there. So that is for a mount point UI when it gets dropped on. Here, I think I need another guard. So basically, that's checking it. Did you drop the right kind of thing? That's checking, is it valid for the mount point? And now, basically, is it already attached? This is actually probably related to the next thing. So this one here is making sure we got instances. So that's done. This thing here, dragging the part away doesn't necessarily update the mount point UI, meaning that like this guy here, that mount point, like it can, I think dragging it off is not going to remove something from the blueprint because there's nothing to make that happen. When you drop a laser on there, then you pick up that laser and drop it somewhere else, it's just going to be set to laser. And this is kind of related to that, because this is like you dropped the part onto here. Okay, if that dropped part is equal to the attached RoboPart, now it kind of depends what happened when the drag was started. So where's my draggable RoboPart? There. Okay. So basically when this thing begins a drag, it will tell the blueprint editor that it started dragging. Okay. Oh, child begin drag. I think that's going to be really useful. Do we have child begin drag here. Is this a blah blah parent? Should be. Yeah, cool. Excellent. I already have set up what I need. So now, if it starts to get dragged off, so gotta watch out I don't clear it too soon. But I'm pretty sure what's happening here is that I'm destroying that dropped child, basically to in an attempt to clear out the space for a new dropped child. All right. Initialization. This is talking about the image component, perhaps. Yeah, maybe something like that. But I could dig into it, but I'm already up way too late, and would love to get this out of the way. But maybe one day I'll dig into that. But this is, let's see. So yeah, when the child's being dragged away, that doesn't really, we don't really care at that point. But it's basically here if the child was dropped somewhere else. Now we know the child was dropped on here because it's got the on drop. So this is same part. So that's the thing that tells us actually that the child was dragged away and not dropped back on here. So I'm going to put this in a bad place for now. I'm going to call this child removing for now. Okay, I did press enter. It wasn't just my imagination. The computer just didn't want that to be the case. Okay, so child removing equals true. And if that is still the case by the time we get to this end drag, then we're going to do some stuff. We'll set it to false, sure. We're also going to set attached RoboPart null. So we'll just clear that. And we're also going to tell somebody something here when we attach this blueprint editor instance. Like basically unmount the part, I think. That might work. Mount part, I don't remember if I wrote that to accept undefined. But yeah, we just check if we've got a thing with a blueprint that can be edited. And then our RoboPart here, yeah, it's just going to set those to null. That it does seem like good behavior for what I want. And then the final part of that is we want to do child removing equals false in that case here somewhere. Same part was drop back on here. So then we basically go, okay, well, it got returned. It's not being removed anymore. So that is, I think, where we want to be. Yeah, it's got a lot of logging to clean up. I'll leave this mess to clean up later. Might try and do that before the next stream. Just get a commit made with this like large amount of stuff from several sessions that I probably should have not put into a single commit. Okay, does that solve both of the things? Yes, that should solve the whole thing. Oh, okay, so put that there. They have got a shield and a laser. Can just hide that C shield and laser on these guys. Bring it back up. Let's just take the laser off. Now, if I've done that properly, we should be getting guys with just a laser. That does not appear to be happening. So, did I say just a laser? I meant just a shield. If I put a shield on there, it looks like the blueprint doesn't have the. Interesting. So I'm. Oh wait, no, I didn't change the selection. Never mind. So basically, here, if I drag both of those off, that should be. Yes, we get child being dragged away. Where have we got? Here. Child end drag. We're not getting the child end drag. And that's because the child is doing that. Probably too soon. What's going on with this? No, this child end drag is coming from my draggable RoboPart parent. So okay. Yeah, it's interesting. So basically, on end drag, unlike on begin drag, I forgot to do this with. Except for that bit. There. Okay, so now that is actually calling that. Okay, come on. Let's get this working, and then I can go get some rest and stop bumping my microphone. Okay, select this. And why don't I just temporarily here just shift this down a little? And then we can see what's going on up there. So we got laser shield guys because there's laser shields here. And let's just get rid of the lasers and see the effect. Still got laser and shield. Yeah, we still actually only got the child being dragged away message and not the end drag. Oh, that makes sense because that's not his parent anymore. So actually, between the begin drag and the end drag, that actually probably wants to crash the parent. So basically, parent on drag begin. Like so. And then instead of on end drag looking up the parent, we'll use that. And you'll clean up the code later. If there was a parent, then call end drag on that parent. And I guess null that out as well because that drag is finished. Okay. Oh. Yes, definitely got to finish up. How many hours have I been saying that for now? 1.5. Yeah, I need a grown-up in the house. You know, it's like a proper adult who will come and knock on the door and say, "It's bedtime. Go to your room." Yeah. What's going on here? Oh, this thing's gone up again. Get down there. Oh, what am I doing? I can do that from the game scene. I'll just use the inspector to move the Y position down. Okay, so good. This factory has those things. Get the laser off there. There we go. So we got child and drag. And that one should have not been dropped back on there. So now we're just shields. Now I'm going to get this and drop it back on there. Boom. It got destroyed. So what was that about? Same part dropped back on here. So who destroyed it? It looks like we do have... We still have shields. And that's probably here, where I have that same part dropped back on message. I'm still doing this. I'll put that in else. Could do it as kind of guard, but I think just this kind of makes more sense. So yeah, no mounting of a part has occurred there. Alright. It's the last time, I swear. No, I don't swear that. At this point, it's I'm too invested. I have to make this work. Yeah, I'm gonna get that presentation tomorrow. So ideally I would be starting early to finish making my slides, because right now they're just not ready. It hasn't been last minute enough yet for me to really get the slides ready. Alright, just move you down. Let's go right there so we can see these guys. So we got sword shielders. Now we should just have shielders. Yep. I'll grab that and put it back on here. Oh, I didn't get dropped on some way good. Sorry, this is a self-destruct from the draggable RoboPart that's doing this. On end drag. Oh, yeah. Okay, so yeah, if it's direct parent is the camera says like it's not attached onto a thing. So yeah, this is basically detecting like when it started drag. It Sorry, that's not starting drag. When it started drag, it set its parent to the ancestor campus. So its parent is now wrong. So when it gets dropped back on here, we still need to actually set the parent and stuff like that. We just don't want to clear RoboPart. And we don't need to do this or this. We just need to do these things. So there we go. Now actually, I did have a reason to have these separate after all. So I'll extract a method here and there we go. We're going to make it a child and adjust its transform. That's what we do there. And here we just want to do that bit. I could use part or I could use attached robot part. Either way, that's fine. All right. Good thing I didn't swear the last time that it would be the last thing. I'm going to have a cookie. There are cookies. They were baked today. The kitchen isn't completely clean, but I can forgive that because there are cookies. Plus, I didn't clean it myself, so can I really complain? Completing domain. What exactly does that mean? Okay, so we're going like this. We're moving that down. And we gotcha laser. What are you gonna do now, robot? Just walk along and shield. I will get some shielding happening. Apparently will not get some shielding happening because that is not working. I wonder if I've broken these by some other change I've made. Oh well. Lucky I'm working on that next. Alright, so the test. This thing. That highlighting is janky. Anyway. Ooh, it'd be cool if it did like a glow highlight around the part or something like that. Alright. So now we've dropped that back on there. We still have shields. I could even move this over here. And we'd still have shields. Put a laser on there. Just move that over there. Yep, that's shield, alright. And we got both. Should get a just laser. We have it nothing. Yep. Just a naked little robot. Given this wheel, what will happen? I don't think that actually does anything at this point. They are still they are still able to fire the laser even if they don't have a laser gun. That is something I have to adjust in the code. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that's all kind of working. So I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to say I have added that Blueprint Editor UI. And I'm going to just reposition that. So customize the actions based on that. And also I think just probably before that as well. I want to only do actions. No, skip actions. That are not supported by Blueprint. So basically, there are a couple of different ways I could handle these actions that are like essentially if you've selected a factory, you have got like lasering, like say it's walk laser, but then you've removed the laser from the blueprint. I could either have that laser just get automatically cleared from here, but that might kind of mess up your routine and then you were just like swapping in a bigger laser or something. So the other option is basically keep it, but probably show it as like red or something to show like, this robot can't actually do this action. And I think that would be better. And then when a robot spawns, it would need to basically just, when it hits that red, it'll either just jump straight to the next thing, or maybe it just like spends that amount of time just doing nothing. So it just goes, yep, I'm just going to activate my thing and then wait for it to finish. But there was no thing to activate. One or the other of those. All right, well, I'm going to call it there. I'm going to go get my cookie because I've earned it. Well, I probably would deserve it more if I'd got myself to bed on time. But it's not about what I deserve. It's about I'm a grown-up and I can have a cookie if I want to, and nobody can stop me. So, yeah, I'm going to move the chat over here because then I can look at the camera and see if anyone writes anything. Yeah, I think waiting would be good. Yeah, or even like some sparks happen too. So you see the robot just walk along and then it'll just go and like wig out and have some blue sparks or something. Just to kind of like malfunction. Which could also happen actually if they have a part and then the part gets destroyed, but the robot hasn't been destroyed yet, such as a shield being destroyed. Same thing. So I won't write that into there. I'll just hope that I remember it. But you can remind me next time if I'm implementing that and not making it do that thing that I just said. Yeah. Anyway, I better sign off before I just take forever not signing off. Here's me. Here's the preview. Woohoo. It's amazing how fun that still is. Man, that just makes me want to play F-Zero X again. Just got to get the SNES and some friends who are in high school, don't have jobs and other responsibilities. Oh yeah, true. I'm not going to even bother writing that because I'll notice it pretty much straight away. So no need to add a to-do item. As soon as I hit customizing the actions, that will show up, and I'm pretty sure it's something to do with messing with draggable icon. or something like that. Yes, the old being a grown-up. That reminds me of something Homer said at some point. Something about having 3 kids and no money. And he would possibly prefer to have no kids and 3 money. But not very ambitious. He could have no kids and 4 money if he really put his mind to it. No, that's morbid if you think about it from the point of, at that point, he would have had to plan. Anyway, time makes fools of us all. Me, for example. A staying up too late fool who hasn't ended the stream yet. I will end the stream in approximately 10 seconds. Thank you for watching. I'm going to go have a cookie and get some sleep. Good night, and until next time, I will be me. Adios.